Okay, we're going to go ahead and open up the box with the heater hose kit. The hose kit for this car is an XX31400-1238-tracer. So this hose will match our AC hose with the blue tracer in it. The double X indicates that it's black fittings and it's black braided hose. The tracer indicates that we've added the blue tracer to it. The 1238 in the part number. This is an LS engine. And if you'll come over to the water pump with me, and let me grab a couple fittings here. On this LS Classic engine, they use a stock Camaro LS water pump. That stock Camaro LS water pump includes these two steel pressed-in barbs that press into the water pump down here. There's a 5/8 barb and there's a 3/4 barb. Knowing what we were doing, I asked Brian to pull these two barbs out of that water pump and drill and tap those two ports. The small ports tap to 3/8 national pipe thread. The larger ports tap to 1/2" pipe thread. Back on our heater hose kit, there's the part number in the hose kit is 1238. That means that we've included in the hose kit a 1/2" pipe thread adapter and a 3/8 pipe thread adapter. My preference has always been to plumb our heater system with number 10 AC hose. And with the reduced barrier hose system, the hose is more supple than 5/8 heater hose or 3/4 heater hose. It's less likely to collapse. You can bend it more tightly without the hose kinking. And again, it's more aesthetically pleasing. You have a number 6 high pressure line going through your firewall. You have a number 10 suction line going to your firewall, and you have 2 heater hoses going to your firewall. If we can plumb our heater lines with number 10 reduced barrier hose, then the look of the hose, the size of the hose is more appropriate. And also, in my estimation, the number 10 AC hose is just easier to work with than 5/8 heater hose and an ugly clamp. A lot of times we use the Gates heat shrink clamps on 5/8 heater hose. But with this system, we're going to plumb the heater lines off of the LS water pump with number 10 reduced barrier pure stealth hose. We're going to use the very same fittings, the very same crimp style fittings that we use for the air conditioner system. So again, it's aesthetically, it's going to match. It's going to look better, we think, than the 5/8 heater hose and hose clamps. So in the heater hose kit, the part number 1238 indicates that we've included these 2 adapters. This part number is a X15000. This is 3/8 national pipe thread by number 10 O-ring fitting, and it's got our pure stealth coating on it. So we'll open it up. This end is 3/8 national pipe thread, tapered pipe thread. This end is number 10 O-ring fitting. This little fella is going to screw right into that port on the water pump, like so. And the other part number is the X15010. We've included that in the hose kit. And this is a 1/2" pipe thread by number 10 O-ring AC fitting. So an adapter. So 1/2" tapered pipe thread on this side, number 10 O-ring on this side. That's going to screw into this port right here. And that's going to allow me to use air conditioner fittings on my heater system rather than an ugly barb with a hose clamp. So we're going to install those next, and then we'll put the fittings that came in the kit onto those adapters, and we'll see how they look on there. All right, so as you can see down here on the water pump, we've installed the 2 adapters. This one's 3/8 pipe by number 10 O-ring. This one's 1/2" pipe by number 10 O-ring. We've installed those into the water pump where Brian wiggled out the steel hose barbs, and he's tapped those 2 ports on the water pump. We have those 2 adapter fittings installed. So now we're ready for some AC hose ends. The AC hose kit, the heater hose kit, comes with 4 fittings. They're all number 10s. It comes with 1 45-degree fitting and 3 90-degree fittings. Since we're not sure exactly what your car is going to require. Those are the fittings that we've included. So I'm going to take this number 10 90-degree fitting and we're going to test it down here. It'll screw onto either port, but I'm not sure that's going to be a great solution for us. Obviously we can't run that heater hose up into the bottom of the compressor. We don't want to run it forward. We probably don't want to run it down. I'm thinking the 45-degree fitting is going to be a better solution for us. So as I install that 45-degree fitting, I'm just going to temporarily put it on that port. Finger tight. There we go. I can rotate that around. And I think probably our best solution is going to be that 45-degree fitting. And we'll run those two heater hoses sort of up underneath of the compressor. And then ultimately they'll go above the inner fender panel and below the outer fender panel. So I think we're going to take advantage of the exchange program, and we're going to send back one of the 90-degree fittings and we're going to exchange it for a 45. So we'll go to our exchange form that comes with the heater hose kit. I'm going to fill out my name and address, city, state, zip code, and there's a number 10 45-degree fitting that's included in the kit. We're going to keep that. There are 3 90s. I'm going to circle this 90-degree fitting, and would like to exchange it for a 45-degree fitting. So I'm going to take one of the 90 degrees. I'm going to put it back in the bubble wrap. I'm going to drop it in this envelope. I'm going to drop it in the mail. As soon as we receive this back at Pure Choice, we'll immediately send that 45-degree fitting to replace the 90. Don't need to worry necessarily about the cloth wrap that protects this during the crimping process. We don't necessarily need that back. Make sure that the fitting is protected. If you've saved the bubble wrap that came with the fittings, slide this back into the bubble wrap like so. Drop it in the envelope. It'll get back to us safely and we'll exchange that for you. So through the magic of TV, we have exchanged that number 10 90-degree fitting for an additional number 10 45-degree fitting. And I'm anticipating that that's how our heater hoses are going to come off of that water pump, just like that at 45-degree angle, up under the compressor, and then over the inner fender panel, under the outer fender panel, and then into the lower 2 ports on the firewall. So at this point, I think we're ready to rehang the inner fender panel, and then we'll actually start making some hoses to put on the car. So we have hung the evaporator kit back in the car. We've installed the 2 heater hose barb fittings on the evaporator, and you can see back here that we've kind of oriented them. So we think that that's going to be our best placement, best orientation for that fitting, so that we can route our heater hoses out of those 2 heater barbs, around the evaporator blower, and then back through this fresh air intake, and then through the firewall, but through the fresh air intake on the firewall. So we think we're good to go as far as the placement of those heater hose fittings. That's critical. You want to get those oriented correctly before you tighten them up, before you go any farther. These 2 fittings for the AC, high side and low side, those are pretty accessible in this car, so we're gonna contend with those later. But we've gone ahead and just hung the evaporator back in there so we can verify that we can get our heater connections made up, and the hose routing is not going to have minimal interference with the blower motor and other components inside the car there. So that's what we've done at this point.